It's Monday, October 10th, 2016. It's Mid-Atlantic Weather Outlook. I wanted to look back a little bit and explain what happened last week. Also, just to tell you guys, it wasn't that I wasn't watching the storm, it's just that life and work interacted with me being able to update what was going on. I have to give a huge shout out to the Virginia Weather Network team. If you haven't ever liked their stuff, you should. They did a lot of real-time updates and good maps over the last several days, and hopefully they're getting a good rest as we head into much more tranquil weather this week. Some cold weather finally for autumn, but I just wanted to note last October 4th, last week, I did an outlook that actually in some ways came pretty true, but for all the wrong reasons. At that time, the forecast models actually did a pretty good job of focusing on eventual tracks of the storm up to about the North Carolina, South Carolina, not North Carolina, South Carolina, but the North Carolina area near Virginia moving east. The resultant amount of winds due to the squeeze of the high to the north, which was there, an inverted trough on the coast, which I said was part of just a normal hurricane happening, and the incoming front that came through this weekend to bring in the cooler air, really did do a squeeze play, and higher winds, much higher than I even expected to happen along the southeast coast and southeastern Virginia. Highs, get winds up to near 87 miles per hour, I think, in parts of Virginia Beach. And the wash of the storm surge was pretty impressive. And the rains, of course, it came down quick, hard, furious, all down in North Carolina. I mean, there are crazy flooding going on down there. There are still people trapped, if you saw some of the posts out on the Mid-Atlantic weather site from some of the other meteorologists. I think there's like 1,500 people trapped in one area just because the water's surrounding them in North Carolina. Just goes to show you, the storm doesn't always have to be super strong to cause insane amount of threats. I think in South Carolina there have been loss of life. I possibly imagine there'll be more in the United States. Very tragic news down in Haiti, where I think it's about 850 to 900 people have been found dead, and the conditions down there are deplorably bad, awful. Sorry, he's where the word deplorable is an awful word, but I mean it fits. It's terrible. Cholera is breaking out, and I think 90% of homes in most areas heavily impacted by the storm are uninhabitable. So just a terrible time. They were hit with so much in the last several years, 2010 with the earthquake, and then other serious hurricanes previous to that. So just a tough area to live in. To summarize, last week the storm track was pinned okay early in the week and then shifted dramatically into some crazy stuff. There was a lot of things missed, some troughs missed, this low pressure, not the front coming in was missed, and the zonal flow was missed, and the way that was going to work with the weather interactions. And forecast models went from being pretty consistent to just going haywire on location and track. Florida was spared in some ways because it went east, but I mean, obviously Florida still got majorly impacted. But I would say South Carolina and then North Carolina down into southeast Virginia were just inundated with insane amounts of rain, and they're still dealing with all the flooding effects this week. I saw one picture, I think, showing maybe it was Lumberton River. It's supposed to be above its historical high that it ever did have all week long, meaning it is above its historically high point the entire week, not just on some crest. That's pretty impressive. Anyway, this week, high pressure is in control. It's going to be chilly, warm up some, and then get back to kind of chilly condition. This is kind of the outlook from the National Weather Service. I mean, I concur on our area. It's just a high pressure is coming in. The squeeze with this front to the east and the low associated with it has caused us our wind as the cold air is kind of filtered into the region. Definitely a lot cooler yesterday. A lot of wind with the squeeze between the high pressure system coming in and the low moving out from Matthew. This going in the future, this is being caused by onshore flow, meaning that there's winds coming off the ocean, so that's why there's causing of some rain in these regions. I know that they don't want any more rain down there, but that's just a reality of living on the coast during the fall. As we move ahead in time, we're seeing this front advance towards us. But we're staying dry, and I'm going to show you the outlook for the next 7 days. Even the front, when it comes through here, is just going to be a dry pass. Maybe a little bit of wind, a few sprinkles, but not much. So here we are with the front approaching on day 3, and then we go into day 4. Didn't mean to do that. The high pressure now is coming in to cool us back down. I would say we're in the 70s on Wednesday, Thursday time frame, but back to cooler 60s on Friday. Weekend is shaping up fine. We're getting a high to ridge down here along the eastern areas. I wouldn't be surprised to see some onshore flow down here, causing some rain again, some sprinkles, and we see a front here. We see a lot of crazy storminess happening here to the west. I will tell you guys, when a big storm comes on the west coast like this, it usually means that our temperatures are eventually going to warm up pretty significantly, and the long range shows that. So not significantly like way hot, but just way above normal. So this high seems to be strengthening here again, and then on day 7, now we got to the southeast, so this high has moved down here. We're going to get southerly winds and a flow in return, so I would say we're going to get warmer temperatures, plus all this storminess that came in the west, huge amounts of rain. Let me just show that. So this is a 7-day outlook on raining. You can see here we're staying dry. As that front comes over the mountains, it just dries out. But you see the Midwest where the front kind of gets hung up and a low pressure system's going to ride up it. And then that huge storm that comes on the west coast, they're getting quite a bit of rain. Nothing's sad as far as needing rain out here. They do need it. But, you know, obviously get it always in these huge inundations of rain. Mountain snows will be pretty big, and it's going to go up into Canada, expanding the snowpack. And that's it. I did want to summarize what happened this last week, why the forecast actually ended up kind of working pretty close to what I said, but not for the same reasons, except for the winds along the southeast coast were definitely a miss by me, and the fact that the rains came so much. I mean, they got 10 inches, 12 inches, if you see some of the reports down there, and it came in a very short period of time. So they went into flood emergency mode, and there's still federal disasters going on down in this area. All for now.